Yeah, other than talking mad shit about Star Wars on Star Wars.
They're shiny. They're shiny. I love it. I love the shiny.
It was the first three were good before he like.
Yeah, Phantom Menace was amazing.
I like
Best-
Solo.
best Star Wars movie.
Solo
Before he
is
did
good.
the remakes of it
Best
and he
Star
added
Wars.
those fucking extra scenes.
Best Star Wars first movie. Movie number one. Did it best. They could never follow through on that. Like midichlorians, they were fantastic. Like why? How could you ever follow up on that? They're little ghosts in your blood. Yeah. So there's you have the ghosts in your blood, right? The little microbes. So you have to go take a Z test or an E meter, whatever the fuck it is. So you put your hands. So that's how you make a Jedi. You go into the church. They have little metal pegs that are hooked up to electrodes, and you put your hands on it. And that's how they tell you're qualified to be a Jedi.
They tell you if your mitochondria
Well, you know, there's some hypnosis and
yeah, it's the powerhouse of the cell.
Don't you feel like AFK should
It
have
tells you
some-
how powerful your Jedis are.
Yeah.
your Jedis.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
So Anakin's like
Okay.
8 Jedis.
did you ever read the
Yoda's
book?
like 9 Jedis.
Don't care. Hands down, you are the best explaining Star Wars.
But honestly, the Rogue series, the Rogue Squadron, Wraith Squadron series, legitimately are. And that's the thing about the Star Wars universe, the old extended universe, that you could have stories, and that's why I have a soft spot for Rogue One. Is that you can have Star Wars stories, even Solo, you can have Star Wars stories outside of the Skywalker family, frankly. And there's 10,000 Jedi in a galaxy of quadrillions, I believe, is the canonical estimate. There's millions of systems. There's hundreds of thousands of planets. There's this gigantic universe with hundreds of species, with all this culture that you could go into. But George Lucas is like, well, it's a Skywalker story. Fine. But you have this gigantic universe.
Yeah, you could have made something so much more with it.
But you got to keep it in the family.
Right. Solo is good because I didn't have to know anything else outside of it.
Yeah.
And no matter what else you do, if you can't watch a movie without...
It's a great heist movie in space.
Right, if you can't watch a movie
kind of like
without
a
having
prequel,
seen a shit ton of other
something
movies,
he did
that's difficult.
movie before all the shit happened.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Star Wars stuff is always really good at all of the action. So I don't really need to understand everything. Go, that was fun to watch.
Yeah. So Finn is a child soldier, right?
I'm talking about fucking Adventure Time.
No.
Copy
Finn.
of
No,
Finn.
Finn. FN27.
Yeah.
Finn. Force Awakens, the new trilogy. FN27, whatever. I can't. You know the one.
Yeah.
2713, whatever it is.
Let's be clear. You know the one. I don't know the
So,
one. We're going to let you have
The
that
backstory is he's basically a kidnapped child soldier, right?
Sure.
And then you go ahead and murder like 63 stormtroopers throughout the course of the movie. The same movie where his conversion from stormtrooper to rebellion was my best friend was just murdered in the line of battle. So 3 scenes later, he goes from, helmet off. I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to free this resistance prisoner, sneak him into a TIE fighter, and then immediately murder like 20 of my best friends.
I mean,
What?
yeah.
Again, point is, I can pick apart these movies for fucking ever.
The whole thing.
So I recently finished Altered Carbon. I know that you had.
I saw a part of that. I saw a part of that.
Having not read the book, it was
I
it was
didn't really
interesting.
like
Like
it.
I can see why it was probably a better book than it was a TV show. But there was definitely some they did some good fun plot theme through things with the like it's again just having watched the 10 episodes or whatever of the show, the world that they built just within the TV series.
Sure.
Like, I want to read the book now because like that whole transhumanist virtual reality body swapping kind of a thing across multiple planets through the universe kind of thing. a thing that I like.
And
I
definitely
thought-
more in depth than a TV show can actually manage.
And like the idea that like a human body is just a disposable fucking thing. Like this is just my sleeve. I don't give a fuck about my sleeve.
Which
We're
is
like pulling on your
disgusting to
boxers
think
in the
about.
morning.
gonna- I'm gonna needle cast into this sleeve on a different planet, light years away.
And that's disgusting to think about in the way that we think about a lot of things.
On a
sense,
lesser extent,
but-
The Matrix is like pretty much the same shit.
Sort of.
Somewhat.
I said a
No, I
lesser
would
I
extent.
think
Yeah,
that I'm changing
I'm
my
not disagreeing
boxes
with
in the
you.
morning is a good way of looking at.
Yeah,
Because that's
the one
temporary.
criticism I had of Altered Carbon is the same criticism I have of all my modern cyberpunk genres, is that the aesthetic, the look and feel is still what people 30 years ago thought the world would be 30 years from now.
Yeah,
still-
we
yeah.
stopped
I'm like, we
moving
haven't-
forward. You're right.
It's still like kind of Blade Runner-y almost.
Yeah, it's the exact same aesthetic from the late 70s and early 80s.
It's true,
It hasn't evolved.
Yeah.
But it's still all just, it's gumshoe gritty with some neon backlights in Japanese.
Sure.
Boom,
Yeah.
done.
So-
There we go.
So
That's
Mess up.
I'm going to go in a bit of a different direction.
sure.
But it was just an idea that within this Altered Carbon universe, again, you have your stack. Your brain translates period no matter what. Which, again, going to Matrix a little bit, which is a series written by two trans women, would be an interesting, and they kind of lightly touch on it in Altered Carbon, where they what do they call it? They cross-sleeved one of the characters.
Right.
Where it's a 30-something-year-old woman, the only body they had available because of the way the universe is built, they cross-sleeved her into a 30-year-old something man. And just kind of that thing where her husband now has to deal with, well, this is, in the series, like, this is my wife, but now she's in a man's body.
Yeah. And to them, it's perfectly normal and okay. To an extent.
To an extent, but
Yeah.
what would that mean about a society where you could just get the, and within that universe too, there's the cloning where if it's hyper-capitalist, if you can afford it, you can buy whatever body you fucking want.
Yeah. They had
If
like
you
billboards.
can't afford it,
and-
you get whatever body you just get. Whatever. Too, and like I think the very first episode of the series, it was kind of a heart-wrenching moment where they have there's this spoilers for the very first episode, but there's this couple, and because if you die, you get a re-sleeve for free. If it's a freak accident, whatever the fuck, you get to re-sleeve your whoever into a new sleeve, and they don't go into it too much, but they basically re-sleeve an 8-year-old girl into a 50 or 60-year-old woman, and she's just like, mommy, daddy, this 50, 60-year-old sleeve, and the parents are maybe 30 by the look of it, and so like this is our daughter, but she's in a 50-year-old body, and it was just like a weird,
like watching someone with Alzheimer's suddenly.
kind of, but in reverse,
Right.
because that's your little girl, but in an
But now
Yeah.
she's older
adult
than
human body,
me.
and they literally say like, hey, that's the sleeve you get, that's what's available for free. If you don't like it, you got to pay more, because again,
Because it can.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's just the society.
It feels like that fucking PS Vita game. I can't remember how it's called. It's like some game where like you would people would like absorb these like demons that was like representing like the 7 deadly sins and shit, and then they would absorb the humanity of this person, and then like they started losing their own humanity because they were absorbing all these people's lives and their memories and stuff. I can't remember what the game was called though. It was like Soul Sacrifice. Soul Sacrifice for PS Vita. It was actually like one of the only good Vita games.
And I mean, that's you could argue that's kind of a trope too, through various parts of mythology too, where like the more human experiences you absorb,
Yeah.
the
Then you
less
start
human
losing your
you
own
become.
self.
You
Yeah.
start,
And then
I mean, even Game of Thrones with the three-eyed raven.
yeah.
You evolve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
It's like, oh, I have all of human knowledge and experience,
Yeah.
and at the same time, I'm becoming less human my own self. I'm a vessel for the experience and not my own individual person.
which is kind of sad too. It's like
Is that how Diablo
you
works?
try to keep your own self at the same time as you're taking in somebody else.
Oh, what is that from the Dresden Files? Same character. The Archive. Yeah,
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah, and then, again, it's a trope.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, frankly, in my experiences, understanding other people's lives has done the opposite to me, where I can become more of my own human because I can understand other people's experiences without being. This is the way the world is. There's no other option. No, okay, so I, understand your.
Right, but I mean, fundamentally, that kind of that entirety of that trope is
Yeah.
dancing around the old adage that cynicism is not a state of mind; it's a state of experience.
Sure.
And that's what they're playing at is the more
Yeah.
that dehumanization or that cynicism, that jadedness, but trying to make it not sound nearly as curmudgeon-y as that adage is, or the just perhaps I don't know, fucking bullshit theory that all of that knowledge somehow alienates you, and it's like, but we all know from practical experience
Yeah.
that that's not true.
Yeah. Like the more I learn and the more I understand about other people, the more connected I feel to more people.
Right.
I mean, I could cite examples, but I'm never going to fully understand your experience. But at least I can relate to some degree, or at least empathize, if not relate. Maybe I don't fully internally understand it to the degree that you do, having to live it every day. But I feel like a more complete human, like a more complete human being. Like maybe I don't fully understand the whole thing.
I was watching, got Heather, my roommate, watching Fallout with me, which, as a testament to how good the show is, we were on like episode 4 before she asked me if there were subtitles, because it's in Swedish, and then the English is subtitled. So it is a fantastic show.
Love, Death, Robots wasn't
How
bad.
much of that is because you know the language?
No, but it's that's what I was
Okay,
saying.
so it's
is
not
the
just that. It's not
testament
just
to the
that.
show is that she sat through
Okay.
3 episodes, and like we're halfway through the 3rd
Right.
episode before she was like, "Is there subtitles?"
Okay.
Yeah.
So either you held her hostage.
Yeah, see, we're a little
I-
suspicious because we know you
But-
and the language.
But it is a fantastic and humorous show. It is the bumbling, incompetent British detective, along with the hardcore shoot everyone Swedish detective from Stockholm, but the two of them are assigned to a case in fuck all nowhere, in like Värmland in like central Sweden, hillbilly land. So it's dirty, hairy, and bumbling, weak-willed idiot in Fargo. Trying to serve
Dirty Harry.
You're trying. Yeah.
Oldmans War. It's a trilogy. It's not a huge trilogy. It's like maybe 1,500 pages total. and I'm not going to get too into it, but the premise is basically they don't recruit for the military, really. Like not like in our modern day. So you're 18, they're going to nab you up so you can pay for free college and get some health care. What they do is they only recruit that you can only join the military once you hit the age of 80.
Oh, what?
How long lived is this race?
Humans. This is Earth. Humans.
Seriously?
Why
So
80?
the
Alright.
technology has advanced to the point
Sure.
where you're
Let's go with that.
probably, aside from catastrophic accident or genetic illness, you're probably going to make it to 80, and you're not obligated to. It's a volunteer. So once you hit the age, I think it's 80.
Not obligated to
70,
live,
75.
not obligated to join.
You're not obligated either. But if you feel like it, when you hit the age of 75, right? Yeah. When you hit 75, they have recruiting centers in your 70s. You can you
That
can
is so bizarre considering our current society.
yeah.
Like,
And
oh,
that
you're
was in-
75, let's just ignore you forever.
so let me finish.
Sorry.
So when they have recruitment centers, but they're not pushing. But if you would like to have a second life, basically, so you hit 75 or 70, when you hit 75, like your life is over on Earth.
Sexy man.
Or you're dead on Earth. You don't get any more participation on Earth. There is an intergalactic human society outside of Earth, but when you hit 75, your body, your genes, all of that is now property of the United Earth government. So they basically avatar your body, and you get this superpower body where it's you got like superpower, muscles, you got photosynthesis skin, you've got the brain pals, what they call it. So you get a biocomputer insert in your brain that gives you biotech live action feedback with satellite communication and all this stuff, regenerative, all this stuff. You got like hyper livers and hyper processing lungs. So it's like you got like 40K meets Halo meets Starship Troopers. Right. So you just got this massive, ridiculous bioengineered body.
Right,
but then your brain
next to this other thing that also worked ish,
Yeah.
and maybe.
But then your brain is 75, so it's like you already lived your life, you got your experience, and then fuck it, now you can kill me. You can kill me forever. I'm dead already. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna go die 17 times. I don't give a shit. That's not actually how it works, but at that point your life is written off. You're done. Now you're just out here defending the human species.
Just being a super
So
soldier.
you're saying if we run into actual elderly people in a video game, we should actually respect them more than everyone else?
So that was not the mindfuck of the story for me. What it was is their faster than light drive.
Oh.
That was the one. That's what got me. That made me really go. So Ender's Game sort of does this a little bit, where if you're going faster than light,
Is that the one with the fucking piggy
Yes.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's the thing, they loosely follow the idea of spatial relativity, where you go 1,000 light years away, it's going to be 1,000 years. In the Oldmans War, it's a dimensional translation. To go from this place to that place, you can't actually go to that place in your... So it's kind of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in Probability Drive.
Sure.
Except that you can't go in your own universe. You have to jump to a different universe to be in that place in faster than light time. And they, and it's like understated in the series, but it's one that stuck with me. It's like there's, the squad that starts together. There's 5 of them. It's like, man, we'll literally never see each other ever again because they're jumping to 5 different points in the galaxy. But they meet versions of themselves, and again, very understated. Like they don't like, oh hey, yeah, we're, doing our things. So it's like, I'm not trying to make anybody think too hard about it, but it was just like one of those ones that grabbed me. It was like a bizarre mind fuck of like, who knows how many universes I've hit? Who knows how many times I've come back to the main prime universe? Or is there a main prime universe, which is a whole different fucking conversation? And that
You don't do that to us.
So they don't.
and then there was fucking I don't think anybody else that I've ever met has read Neal Stephenson's Anathema.
Oh man, you actually have me.
Uh,
I've read Neal Stephenson. I have not read that.
Or yeah, anathema.
Yeah, I don't think I read that
not
one.
anathema.
I read
he blends anthem and anathema into a word. It's a standalone book, and it is bizarre and dense and compelling, but fucking hard to get through.
You
It is
did just say Neal Stephenson.
Yes.
Wait, but
Yes.
yeah, so I
It
read
is
the
a
one-
frick of a book.
I mean, this is if you don't know Neal Stephenson. I read the one where you're a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, Snow
Does not
Crash.
track with what you just said.
That's Snow
But
Crash.
I did, yeah, no, yeah. So I read that one. I also read the little girl's primer,
Okay.
which also doesn't track with what you said. I think I started Cryptonomicon, but that one is that's a long,
An
long book,
anthem,
and
I think is what it is.
Cryptonomicon is a really very long book, and I just didn't have time to finish it.
Yeah, Cryptonomicon is also another one of those
Yeah,
fucking
and-
chunky ass, ridiculous.
And maybe I finished the thing, and I just.
But
But
so
either way, it's huge,
Cryptonomicon,
and I don't think I've heard of the one you just said. And at the fact that I had that many of his books, and I don't know that I knew that one.
still one of my
I feel like I
favorite.
need to know that one.
One of my favorite moments from a book ever was from Cryptonomicon. So one of the characters, he's written as a Enigma project, the Ultra Magic project, decrypting the Enigma. He's a fake contemporary with
Turing?
Alan Turing. But this dude he's whatever he is. But in the book, he has, because he's also kind of a horn dog, and has in the book he writes a graph, like he draws a graph in the book, a visual graph that is productivity to recent masturbation levels, culminating at the last time he has sex. That is in the book. I am not exaggerating.
Every man.
He's like, okay, I am
I think I missed. I don't
I
think I
need to
got
read
that
this
far.
book.
diminishing productivity returns to masturbation, culminating in the last time I can be productive until I have sex. Teenage protagonist written by an old white man.
Yes.
Best teenage female protagonist written by a middle-aged white man, I should say.
In my opinion.
I would put Tiffany Aching up there as
Why does that sound familiar?
from the Wee Freeman and Hatful of Sky series, the Tiffany Aching series by Terry Pratchett.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I have to get into that.
I'm just getting into Pratchett.
Yeah.
Like you gave me the death. One where death decides to step away from being death for a minute. I can't remember the name of the book.
Reaper Man?
Reaper Man, yes.
Yeah, Reaper Man
That's the
is
only one I've
fun.
actually read entirely.
Oh,
It was a really good one.
that was excellent.
That's what made me decide that I'm going to probably invest like $200 in buying all the Terry Pratchett books.
Oh,
Alright.
yeah.
Mistborn, wasn't she like 14 or 16?
When it starts, she's 14. I
Yeah.
believe.
14?
See, I
Yeah.
never read that, so I can't actually buy into that because I don't know.
And that's the thing. It's not even that I necessarily believe that she's a 14-year-old teenage girl. It's that he doesn't write her like some kind of... So Snow Crash, for whatever reason, in that context, bounced me off into a thing. Ready Player One.
Ah,
Yeah,
Everybody? Anybody?
the movie.
This is the book. It's just 80s fan service jerk off. I was watching a thing that was actually kind of an interesting take. I say that because I was watching a thing the other day that brought up a very interesting take on what Ready Player One could have been, which was kind of what's his name took on the thing. Is like, so in a world where God is dead, pop culture is the new God. In the ways that you could have taken, I'm not going to get into it too much, but like, I can't remember the main character's name off the top of my head, but pop culture is his new God, and his worship is the video game, and like the various avenues you could go down that are way more compelling than like, oh, friendship is magic, sort of, that they ended up doing with that whole thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We're 400 pages of callback jerk-off fantasy. Like, oh, I remember Joust. Here's 4 pages of how I beat Joust. I'm not exaggerating. That's the fucking book.
Right. But, I mean, like, that codifying of nostalgia,
And I'm not disagreeing.
you know, I think your anger at it might be
I'm not
because
even angry. I'm just like, it could have been better than it was. There's
But did it promise or
No, it didn't.
It didn't
Okay, so-
try
okay.
to sell itself as
I'm gonna
anything
back.
but.
I missed.
Yeah.
It was
I missed.
fine watching it as a movie without having read the book.
Yeah.
So
Because I didn't have any like
I missed the
expectations
point.
of it being anything other than
The
movie.
premise of this paper, if you will, this argument, it was how you could have Starship Troopered Ready Player One, because Heinlein's Starship Trooper was fucking fascist propaganda.
Well, because
Period.
Heinlein was a fascist.
Yes. The Starship Trooper movie was not based on Starship Troopers. It was based on this other guy's screenplay that they just co-opted.
It was called Bug Hunt, and
Yeah.
they were 3/4 of the way done filming it
Yes.
by the time they got the rights to Starship Troopers. So then they just refilmed a handful of scenes, finished production, and slapped the Starship Troopers title on it.
Right, so-
they're
Okay,
not
I
at
feel
all
like
related.
that is
So acknowledging
precisely
all
how
of
that
that-
should exist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even argue.
Yeah.
Like that was
so
the right way for
acknowledging
that
all
to
of that,
happen.
where like the Starship Troopers movie was a far okay. I'm not trying to say it was like a unique fucking masterwork of a philosophical title, but the kind of like
Also not
tongue
saying-
in cheek fascist propaganda thing that if you take a step.
Young people from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah.
Where it's like
Right.
satirizing the fascist propaganda, because here's it's a giant Hollywood film about hunting bugs. Like, here's my military tactics. There's giant fucking bugs, right? Let's equip 1,000 Space Marines with a shotgun and an assault rifle. That's your battle tactics.
Would they respond in the same way if it was actually like the undead instead of bugs?
I mean, have you seen a zombie movie?
I know, but
It's
little different,
spray and
right?
pray, except for maybe like that
Same
one
as-
guy
it's the
that
same
knows
as
how
the
to shoot.
40K Imperial Guard.
Or that
There's
one guy that
1,000 of
fucking
you, and we're
sacrificed
going to give you the
himself.
fucking cheapest
Gonna happen
flashlights
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
a
that's
with a
what's up.
fucking scope on it.
Yeah.
Not a
And
bite you
they're-
just want to
just-
admit. Go
just-
ahead.
Well, look, in 40K for the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, the las-gun is not a weapon. It is a tool of mortal support. That's it. You run out
Wait,
there
you
and
said
die.
It's
You
a
said
glorified
mortal-
flashlight.
Like, yeah.
Did you say mortal support or moral support?
Moral.
Either, both.
That's like
Both.
fucking what's that shit? With the Rock. What's that one movie?
Because the Imperial
With
Guard
the
is an
space.
armored division that just happens to have a fucking meat grinder in front of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying,
No,
like,
you just you
fucking-
put 10,000 foot soldiers out in front of your
and you just
tank
flash your lasers at them.
so that you have a ramp of dead bodies
Yeah.
to park your tank on the top
Hide
of.
behind the pile of dead cars. The Starship Troopers meet, like, again, as fascist propaganda. In that context, like, yeah, it's all of these war heroes who died pointlessly, really, because we're just. So there's 1,000 bugs over there. So we're gonna send 10,000 troopers. Oh no, there's 100,000 bugs. Literally no support. What the fuck? We know that they have mechs in the extended universe because you go to Starship Troopers 3, skip 3 2 probably because 3 is also
No,
And
we are
then
not going to look for the internal
Yeah.
consistencies of this universe in the direct-to-video follow-ups. No, you're not adding any level of credibility to
I didn't
anything.
say I was.
No, fuck it, we're done. Moving.
I kill my batteries.
So I remember we had that conversation a while ago, a couple weeks ago, about like mobile games. I've been noticing the last couple of weeks since we had that conversation, like since the beginning of April, I found there were 3 or 4 games that started out as I actually own. So Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
Cultist Simulator, which is an interesting experience.
Cultist syndrome?
Yeah, right? That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, Culture Simulator, what
Yeah.
are we doing? We're
It is
just
the same
looking
thing
up
today.
games.
It's
I think it's $7, but you're gonna get.
He's just like, I need a
30
cult.
to
How do I order a
40.
cult? I want a cult.
Yeah, so it's weird. So
Bring them in.
it's a very compelling, very Lovecraftian kind of setup, but it's like a card, like almost like a deck builder, but not really, kind of, but not really. and then it came out at the beginning of April, but I didn't see it until like last week, and then I spent another $7 to have it on my phone because it's like it's like little story blurbs that you kind of have to. But it definitely hits that like Lovecraftian like giant like there's this
nebulous. Say something has good writing and call it Lovecraftian because
It's true.
it has good writing, but it gives you that Lovecraftian like that kind of existential horror. There's this bigger.
Here's that vibe you can't achieve any other way without giving him credit.
yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, this racist idiot is the one that kind of.
You mean the whole if you enjoyed it, then click like and subscribe?
Right?
That whole thing?
I will say though,
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, ladies
for
and
the two
gentlemen.
in here who didn't read Mistborn, I recommend, highly recommend.
There's not enough time
Phenomenal
to get as
storytelling.
obsessed with
You
D&D as
read
I'm
the
getting
Bartimaeus
obsessed
trilogy.
and read other shit. So
To be fair,
Yeah,
There is.
yeah, there.
I have a full-time job that doesn't
For-
include that.
Yeah, I
Right.
can read it.
Audiobooks and your drive.
Mm.
I took the
They
time to
have it
read
in
Batman New
audiobook.
52.
If
so,
I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
I'm not great at audio.
So in summary, fiction is fun. Thumbs and subs.
thumbs and subs.